Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Stay Woke Conversations. Yes, sir. Now today, guys, I'll be reacting to Be a Man, Modernist and Traditionalist Debate Masculinity. And you see this video is like over 40 minutes long, so I'll be breaking it down into 4 parts. So this one here is part 1. Now before I get started though, make sure to obey the algorithm by smashing that like button, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, man. So let's get into the video, man. Be a man. Let's go.
I'm so tired of like paying $150 for a first date and then you just ghost me. And the next week I'm like hurting for cash. I'm like, I could have really used that $150. Like, why did I have to?
Also, the trade-off of like going on a date and as the man being like, oh, this sucks, I have to pay, or as the woman being like, oh, this sucks, I might get murdered.
And to get a diverse perspective, but of course, that caveat, we're not everyone. I wanted to start by telling you why this is something that I'm interested in. I have an 8-year-old son, and I'm seeing him absorb what manliness might mean. I'm thinking to myself, like, what does it mean to be a man?
It's very simple. A man's got to be strong mentally, physically, and he's got to fulfill his duties, protect, provide. It's very simple. Just how obviously society is making it look complicated, but it's not.
Or maybe we could just introduce each other to each other, and if you were to describe what it means to be a man or to be masculine.
My name is Tahoe. I'm a black man from the hood. When I was young, being a man, you had to be tough.
Facts.
You had to be hard. And now, to me, being a man is a lot different. Now, to me, being a man is knowing when to be soft. Knowing that you don't always have to run the charge. You can actually listen. You know what I mean? So things have changed a lot over the course of the years for me.
And that's what you just explained right now. That is the true tradition of being a man, is being strong. Having that savage mentality. Deal with problems and fulfill your duties regardless of how you feel. That's a man.
I'm Griffin, and I don't identify as a man. I'm non-binary. I still have elements of, my identity that are masculine, elements that are feminine, elements that don't fall within that range. And I personally just don't feel tied to like the norms or the confines of gender at all.
Well, welcome.
For me, she wanted me to give an accurate statement or accurate opinion on masculinity, because she doesn't recognize of any gender. She got parts of it, feminine, masculine. For me, like you already get accurate answer.
My name is Dylan, and I think that the notion of masculinity is just something that can be possessed by man or woman. Man, woman, non-gender conforming person. What it means to be masculine is just like, changing and like very fluid. But I think that, masculinity is something that just, like you embody based off of just like how you show up in this world as a man, and just like, how you go about being your day to day.
Yeah, make the good point there is that how you put yourself out there, that's how you're going to be viewed. If you're going to put yourself as a man who's strong mentally, physically, fulfills his duties and is competent, he's got self-control, then you're going to perceive that way. You know what I'm saying to you?
How you show up. Interesting.
Yes.
What's up, guys? My name is Paul. I'm a fitness entrepreneur. I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 4 years old with my family. It's kind of funny how we're talking about it. My take on masculinity is not about talking as much as doing. I think at its core, a man has to be efficient, competent, and be willing to do what it takes for themselves and their loved ones.
I was not a...
That right there, I say it again. That is the definition of masculinity.
As a good man, I was not always what you would call a healthy masculine man. And so, as my life has changed, I've identified 5 points that I think make a truly masculine man masculine.
Okay.
I think point number 1 is a man who walks with God. Point number 2 is a man who stands on principle. Mm-hmm. Point number 3, which is a masculine man, is self-sacrificing. Mm-hmm. So someone who is willing to sacrifice for point 4, the people that he leads. Mm-hmm. A true man is a leader. Mm-hmm. And number 5, a masculine man is never a coward.
That's a lot there.
Yeah.
That right there is 5 solid points. 5 solid points. All that's a true definition of masculinity. You know what I mean? And the most powerful one is God first. Then comes man. And then everything else after, the duties, not being a coward, being fearless. A lot of men these days they're fearless. They're in fear of their relationship. They're in fear of problems and trials and tribulations in their life. You know what I'm saying to you? There can't be no fear. Otherwise, you're not a masculine man.
And let's get into that as we go on.
I think what it means to be a man is responsibility. As a man, it can come with a lot of power, and with great power comes great responsibility.
Facts.
In short words. That's it.
That's from Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah, that's what's
Uncle
needed.
Ben.
That's a great power. Great power requires great responsibility. You understand me? So you have to move efficiently. You have to move accordingly. You have to move smart. You know what I mean? If you haven't control your power, then the power will abuse you or backfire on you.
James.
Well, my name is James Killen, former United States Marine turned Air Force officer. Got a couple combat tours, but I'm also a father of 3 girls who mellowed me out. The idea of masculinity is something that I find interesting because it is changing, and I can actually see those changes in myself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this panel.
Thanks for your service. Andre.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, men. I think my idea of a real man is, someone that gets the job done, and provides and all that. I don't even know what that means anymore, but yeah, I don't know. It's
Honestly.
changing every day.
How do you think it's changing?
No, it just seems like everything's changing every day. It's like a new world order, so I have a hard time keeping up with stuff, so I feel like tomorrow it's going to be something else, and people are going to comment and be like, you're wrong, it's this now.
I mean, it's hard to talk about some of this stuff because you feel like you might say the wrong thing.
I'm not really masculine myself, so I can't.
Honestly, I respect
feel like
honesty.
I'm like the wrong person to ask.
Maybe the right person to ask.
Yeah, that's the way you say the confusion right now, isn't it? We have a 5,000-year-old idea of a man being strong mentally, physically, spiritually, fulfilling his duties, self-discipline, and now vice versa. Now the narrative is out there that the masculine's thrown in the air. What is it now? Oh, now it's men is soft now. They're in fear. They're cowards. That's all vice versa. So I guess I respect what he's actually saying, and I respect also respect being honest. You know what I'm saying? That he's not that masculine himself. You know what I'm saying? So I expect this, I agree with his honesty there. You know what I'm saying? Not every man's gonna boast to do that.
Christian.
What it means to be a man is to be a adult human male.
That's sort of a very formal definition, but I think that might be a good place to kick off because there's a lot of talk, of writing, of research these days that says there's a crisis in masculinity. Is there a crisis in masculinity? And if so, what is that crisis?
Nope, that's cap.
The thing that I see is a lot of deconstructing generational trauma. The be a man, boys don't cry, this, that, and the other thing. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why we see it as a crisis, because we're actually trying to redefine what it means to be a man, and none of us have any idea because we're just out here trying to be whoever we are.
That's right.
100%. As a man, is that you go through trials and tribulation, suffering, and you're able to use that pain to turn it into your favor. Just I'm saying that's a real man, because really and truly nobody cares how a man feels. Whether you're sad, you're depressed, you're anxious, you understand me? None of that really matters because you are a man, and that. You know what I'm saying to you? You're in your nature, in your biological nature, you're able to overcome that. You're built that way. It's in you. You understand?
Right. I think that historically, being a man was rooted in patriarchy and misogyny. And now we realize how harmful that has been over the years. And so we don't really know how to define where we're supposed to be. And I think the reason that they're saying it's a crisis is because the box has gotten so small for just being, say, straight, just being a hetero, right? Because if you do anything, women judge you.
What do you mean anything?
If I dance a certain way, or if I wear my hair a certain way, if I dress a certain way, they go, real men don't do that. Real men don't do that. And so you get scared to move a certain way because you don't want to get judged or outed out of the accepted part of your community. And I think that kind of has us in an uproar, and we don't know where to be. Like, where's the safe place to be for men now? You know what I mean? And it's kind of disturbing.
Yeah, well, my take on that really is that what you call it, regardless of me, what I know is that a man, what you call a real man, and that is somebody somebody who is embracing his masculinity. You know what I'm saying to you? Embracing his masculinity. You understand me? Which is like being fearless, which is being strong mentally, physically, realize his power and how to use it in working according to his favor, but not to abuse the power though. Just what I'm saying to you. But again, as I'm talking I'm a straight man. Just what I'm saying to you. But that whole narrative of what you call it, men just you can see the taste rappers, man, nails, this X, Y, that is why the true definition based on the tradition that's not a real man. You have to call that effeminate. Just that's the reality. Just what I'm saying, it's black and white.
Now, I was what you would call a toxic masculine male growing up. And I had good men that sewed into me. You know, they gave me good advice. But I never found manhood or never understood my place as a man until one day I humbled myself and I gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm telling you right now, walking with God changed my life forever.
Can you define toxic masculinity? Like,
I would say toxic masculinity is like what he was just saying, where you're using that leadership role or that aggressive nature in a harmful way to harm other people, to get your way.
Yeah,
so the biblical structure for manhood is very humble. It's self-sacrifice. It's not self-motivated, but it is motivated by principle and standing on what's right. So there is a clear-cut vision for manhood in the Bible that I live by, and I think our culture used to live by, and I think our culture has lost its way.
I think everybody sort of has a different definition of toxic masculinity. I don't find masculinity toxic in and of itself, but I do believe in bad men, and bad men exist. But does that mean every man is toxically masculine? No.
When we're talking about the crisis on masculinity, I think that there's a lack of understanding there. So it's like masculinity, being masculine isn't toxic. It's just like there are portions of it that you can dive into that make it toxic.
Because I think a lot of what we think of masculinity is tied into patriarchy.
It's the same thing again. Like we live in a world of you get so much power and you overtake somebody else, or conquer land or conquer a country. You know what I'm saying? It's power in that. But the power, which the reason why there was is today why it's a state of it, because the people in power abuse their power. Just something then becomes chaos, and then becomes demonic, it becomes evil. You understand me? So great power requires great responsibility.
Right? Which is to say, like, for the longest period of human history, like, men dominated women and got the lion's share of stuff.
I think a lot of times some people make masculinity into a caricature, like it has to be this alpha bro tough guy.
Exactly.
And I find the low-key guy who, you know, is a really great father and a great husband and maybe not like drinking raw eggs every day to be a lot more masculine than the alpha bro who's going and like banging 20 women per weekend and not a responsible man. I find it more masculine to be a good guy.
I think that a background of this is that we are saying that gender is this like real thing that has real ideas and implications. And Griffin, I'm wondering, as someone who identifies as non-binary, how does this conversation strike you?
Well, I think that it kind of becomes like irrelevant whether or not we attribute like having like a good ethical compass to being like masculine. Attributing that to like the gender constructs which we have made up, which are like somewhat pointless, like kind of just feed into needless roles that uphold the patriarchy without even knowing it. A lot of those things are just things that people should be doing because they're like morally right. Like if you're in a family, you should probably support your family. And I really don't think that it has to do with like your manhood.
These characteristics that we're talking about.
But that is the thing. It's protected by that's the based on tradition. That's what a real masculine man is. You know what I'm saying to you. But as I said, her point won't be accurate or won't be valid because she don't define us in both genders. You know what I mean?
Are baked into an old system of domestic life.
I think that's actually where we get toxic masculinity. Like, none of us can really describe what it is, but we can see it when it happens.
So we learn it, right? This is something we learn from the world. It's something we learn from, like, TV and shit, and it's maybe something we learn from our dads, too. Tell me about your dad.
I'm a first-generation kid. My dad is from Guyana. Grew up in very humble beginnings, poor family. First time I remember my dad telling me he loved me was when I was 17. And he... That was like saying like he was proud of me because I was about to graduate high school and things like that, you know. I'm appreciative of all the other things, you know, being...
See, that is, he's going from suffering now. So that made him a man, you know what I'm saying? His dad didn't know until he was 17. So he's suffering. He had to learn the hard way. He had to go through the mud to suffer in order to improve his character, his mentality. You understand me? So that right there, he suffers. So for that, he's built. He's built. He's strong, and that right there is masculinity.
Being present as a provider, but in terms of like, you know, the conversation piece and like, oh, I want to talk to my dad about, you know, sex or something, or I want to talk to my dad about, oh, this person broke up with me and I'm feeling pretty sad about it. I didn't have those conversations.
So like emotional language as part of like how you talk to your dads.
Yeah.
And I'll pause it right there. That is part 1 of this reaction. I got 3 more reactions to this video. You understand me? And yeah, man, that's my take. That's my opinions I just said, you know what I mean, in this video. Let me know what your thoughts on this video is. Comment down below. And make sure to bait the algorithm by smashing that like button, share, and comment, subscribe to the channel, man. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for part 2.